In this demonstration, we're going to talk about how to set up staff accounts. To set up staff accounts, click on the settings link in the left-hand menu. Then scroll down and click on the staff accounts sub-menu item. On the staff page, there are a number of panels. We are going to talk through each one individually. From the top panel, you can set up new logins into the system. If you choose to use this feature, each staff member will be assigned an email address and a password. For larger facilities that share a computer, it may be best to create one general login into the system. With that general login, you then have the ability to set that as a multi-access account, and you can set up staff underneath that login. We are going to demonstrate both of these ways now. To add a new login, click on the Add Account button. From here, enter in the staff's details. Once their details have been entered, you can scroll down to secure their account. For each login into the system, you can set up which notifications that account gets. The daily email is an email that is sent at about 6 a.m. in the morning, which contains details of the bookings checking in and checking out for the day. The next option allows that staff member to receive emails for new bookings and new customer accounts that have been set up on the online system. If you enable online payments on Kennel Booker, the next setting will allow each staff member to receive a notification when a payment is made. You can restrict access to certain system features. Generally, most businesses don't allow their staff members access to the financial reports in the system. To disable this feature, click on the checkbox. Additionally, once the system is set up, it is generally best practice to disable access to the settings. The rest of the settings can be configured as required. It is also possible to restrict access to certain booking types on the system. This is particularly useful if you have groomers who come on site for 1 or 2 days during the week. You may not want them to access your boarding or daycare bookings. If you do not wish them to have access to any of the booking types, you can untick the associated checkbox. Click Update to create the staff member's account. Once the staff member's account has been created, they will then receive an email. Within the email is a link that they need to click on to set a password for their account. Until they do so, you will see the status as pending. To resend this confirmation email, click on the button beside pending. We are now going to demonstrate setting up a multi-user account. Click on the Add Account button. Enter in the details for the login account. Once the details have been entered, scroll down to save this account. You can now click back into the account and scroll to the bottom of the page. In the multi-user panel, click on the associated toggle button. This account has now been set up as a multi-user account. You can now add staff members into the system. Optionally, you have the ability to set a staff code on their profile. When entering bookings or checking out bookings, staff members will be required to enter their staff code into the system. Only the administration account can set up a multi-user account and view the staff members' access codes. Add the staff member by clicking on the blue button. IP-based security restrictions. On this page, if your business has a static IP address that does not change when your router is rebooted, you can enter this IP address into the system. This will stop any staff members who are off-site from accessing the system while not in work. You can add multiple IP addresses to the system if required. To enable IP restriction, click on the following drop-down list and choose Enable. Once enabled, you can then enter your IP address. Your current IP address will be pre-filled for you, and all you need to do is click on the Add IP Address button. Once added, any future logins that do not come from this IP address will be blocked. If you change internet service provider, you may need to delete this IP address. Click on the red Delete button to delete the IP address. For the purpose of the rest of this demonstration, we are going to turn off IP restriction. If you need to add staff members into the system, but they do not require a login. You can scroll down to the bottom panel of the screen. From here, you can add staff members into the system. As you can see, we currently have 2 staff members already in the system, Sarah Byrne and Sarah O'Callaghan. To add an additional staff member, click on the Add Staff Member button. From here, enter in their details. You can then configure what services that staff member provides. For the staff member, we are going to enable all 3 options. Once grooming is then enabled, you can then configure a colour for that groomer if required. You can also specify if this groomer is going to be paid based on commission. If they are, click on the checkbox. You can then set a commission rate for that staff member. You can optionally include within the commission any additional services that have been added to the booking. To finish adding the staff member, click on the green button.